Cool. Again, thank you everyone for coming. We missed you last week. So the bye week was nice. I thought our players approached it well. It was a great week for them to get their bodies, get their minds refreshed, focus on fundamentals, have some great competition, and start working towards moving on to NIU. So we're extremely excited to be back defending the Frank and are looking forward to an outstanding crowd for homecoming weekend. And then represent our outgoing seniors in the right way, as it's their last Saturday home game of their careers. And again, just moving with NIU, I think it's a hard team to just look at their record and see who they are. They've played everybody really tight, and I think they play really well on defense right now and have been challenging for a lot of the offenses they've been facing. And I think when teams do that, they're always kind of giving themselves a chance. So it is definitely a very formidable opponent, and looking forward to the competition. All right, what do we got?
Andrew Bowlby, WB coach. Obviously, the Ball State game happened, then you guys had the bye week. Just what is the mentality? What's kind of the vibe of the program right now as you guys get ready for the second half of the season?
Yeah, I thought the energy was really good throughout the bye week. And I think that there's some maturity within the team that they understood the missed opportunities that we had. And I think they did a good job mentally of just addressing that and at the same time clearing it and moving forward with really good energy and being real positive with each other. And I thought we had a good week of bye week practices.
And then what were some of the things you guys prioritized most during the bye week to clean up for the second half of the season? Yeah,
there was an emphasis with fundamentals. There was some opportunities for some competitive work, which was nice to get some real good on good opportunities. I think was good for our guys. And, some of it was very player specific. We were able to get some of our more veteran players some much needed rest and get their bodies back and refreshed and, get them, mentally and physically ready for this last stretch.
Cam Robertson with the Athens Messenger. Coach, before the Ball State game, you had said that you expected some of those guys that have been battling some injuries to potentially be coming back after the bye, after you've kind of had this week to kind of rest and get some of those guys rested. Do you expect some of those guys to be back? Do you kind of have a general health update coming out of the bye?
Yeah, I expect we'll have a handful of guys back that we have missed. I'm not going to declare who and when and all that stuff, but, we should have some help moving forward, which is nice.
Shot Fidel with the Post. NIU's offense hasn't been great throughout this year. They already made a quarterback change to a freshman and Brady Davidson. Just kind of how do you prepare for a guy that has such little tape on film so far?
Yeah, I think you're looking at what you can evaluate, and then you're evaluating the schemes that they use for him. And whenever there's question marks, I think you fall back on just your fundamentals, your schemes, focusing on yourself and that your rules are sound. Yeah, that's typically the approach.
Grant Kiefer, WAB. The follow-up right off of that, I know going into the Kent State game last day also started a true freshman. You guys were looking at his huddle. Is that something in the cards again, looking at his high school tape?
We have done that before, yeah, and just to get a better feel of a kid. Now, in that case, he really had not had any college film. Like we have film that we can look at on this kid.
Marty Bannister, Ohio Radio. You talked a moment ago about the physical part of the bye week, but how big was the mental part? I mean, you guys have been grinding since the 1st of August, and with those first 3 Power 5 games, how important was it to get that maybe mental break?
Well, there's a combination of it. I think you go 6 straight games, 3 of them being Power 5, Power 4 opponents. There's some wear and tear on the body, and then you've been going just about every day as soon as fall camp started, and I think it's good for the players to get a little bit of some time away from the facility as well and just get refreshed mentally. And I think both those can be positive for the next phase of the season.
Did you get a chance as well, too, during the bye week to maybe go back and look at both sides of the ball and think, maybe we can add this now. Maybe we weren't doing that well.
Yeah, you have to do some self-scouting. So that's a great opportunity to look through and evaluate your self-scout and watch some more of your film from earlier in the season. And for me, just as a play caller, looking at, what I've been doing in certain situations and what do I need to change and adjust.
Northern Illinois is already 0-2 in MAC play, and you guys kind of experienced it on your own. Target's going to be on the back for the defending MAC champs. Now we're getting into the point of the season where wins really, really matter. Do you guys, I know you expect to probably get their best shot, but how does it change knowing that, hey, you've experienced, hey, we got someone's best shot and we lost?
I mean, we're continuing to press that, that we're going to get everyone's best opportunity. And I think that, like I said before, they're a far better team than what their record shows. I think that they play really good on defense and have been very hard to score on and create explosive plays. And offensively, they've been able to create some explosive plays. I think they have good backs that they lean on. You look at them playing Miami, and it's 14-0 in the first quarter. So there's definitely talent there. They have ability. They just haven't quite put it all together yet.
Coach, you talk about the talent of Northern Illinois' defense. As you've kind of prepared for them, what are some of the things that you think they do well that sticks out to you when you watch the tape?
I think their scheme is very sound. They do a good job of not allowing really explosive plays. You don't see guys get cut loose a bunch. They do some good things up front with creating some movement, which can be challenging for the O-line at times. And I think they play hard as a unit, which is good to see when a team has been, struggling a little bit in terms of just how the record shows that, they're showing that they play hard throughout the entire game, which is a credit to the players and the staff on that side.
Another week where some drop snaps were some issues. What are just kind of the conversations like with both Parker and Nick after a week like that?
Yeah, that was a focus in the bye week. Just adjusting a little bit in Nick's fundamentals of how he's snapping and making some changes there to try to help with that situation. And so far, it's been real positive.
How much extra motivation is there this week for obviously being homecoming and one of the bigger home games of the season?
I mean, I think I said this before. Like, I would hope that doesn't create extra motivation. I mean, I would hope that our players are motivated to play anyone, anywhere, anytime. It shouldn't matter who or what the situation is. I love our fans, and I'm expecting a great crowd. And we always want to be able to put on a great show and represent our school and our program at the highest level. But I really hope that shouldn't bring extra motivation for our guys.
Coach, David got the nod against Ball State, misses a field goal. With some of the kicking struggles that you guys have had this year, does that kind of change your mentality when you get into some of those areas where you might go for it on fourth down or make you a little bit more aggressive in your play calling?
It does. Yeah, it does. So, I've told you before, we use analytics to kind of assist with that. But it does give me the mind frame of being a little bit more aggressive at times, or trying to put myself in a position where I can be more aggressive. And with those two, the competition will continue. Last week through practice, they were both 100%. We'll continue with them kicking and competing with the first unit and giving them some live looks. And see who's gonna do better throughout the week and as we move in. The disappointing one with the miss was it was a bad miss. He was swinging extremely hard because it was a little bit of a deeper kick, and he doesn't need to do that. There's a lot of I think comparison with kicking and golfing, and when you're trying to kill the ball, you end up spraying it all over the place. And so sometimes just hitting a smooth 8-iron is all you really need, and that was all he needed with his swing. So there's definitely a lot of mental that goes into that process. So the things that we're working through for sure.
Yeah, and then Andrew talks about some of the extra motivation of it being homecoming, but kind of on the other end, with it being homecoming and senior day, how do you kind of fight some of those outside, noise or some of that added pressure of it being, a bigger game than normal, and keep your guys focused on it just being another opportunity to get a win? Yeah,
I mean, we'll address that and discuss it. That there's going to be more going on campus. Pre-game will be a little bit different, so there's the potential for some distractions that we have to be able to navigate.
Coach, you don't need to go into specifics about this one, but it is senior day. Can you talk a little bit about what this group of seniors has meant to this team?
I think every year your seniors are a huge part of who you are, what you represent. And there's a lot of guys within this group that have done a lot for this program. I think it's changed a little bit with the transfer world, is that there's a handful of seniors in there that haven't really been here as long, but there is a good group of guys that, have been a part of not only winning a championship last year, but were a part of the trip to Detroit 4 years ago, and the 3 consecutive 10-win seasons. So there's a lot of guys that have invested in the culture and the development of what this program is and where it's going.